This is Swimming with Sharks, where we dive deep into the strategies and innovations reshaping the world of customer operations and business growth. Today, Kevin sits down with a leader who is rewriting the rules of the C-suite, Geoff Woods. Today, he's pulling back the curtain on the transformative power of AI in business strategy. Hold your breath. It's time to dive in.
Geoff, great to have you here on the show. Super excited to talk to you today. Your book is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the top 10 books that I've read on AI from a leadership perspective, and super excited to have this great conversation with you. Now, for those of you who don't know, why don't you give the audience an introduction into who you are, your book, and kind of what you're thinking about these days?
Sure. So appreciate you having me, Kevin. My book is The AI-Driven Leader, and it is about how you harness AI to make faster, smarter decisions. Because I found myself asking a question, which was, what if the biggest threat to your business isn't the competition, but it was how you were thinking? This is all about how you think, because your ability to think strategically is the difference between growing your business or going out of business. And how I even got here, we have to go back to college. My senior year, I was doing an internship, and I sat down with the CEO right before graduating. And I asked him, Kevin, what job he thought I should get after school. He leans in and he goes, Geoff, you're asking the wrong question. You really should be asking, what are the skills I can master that are so valuable, they'll serve me no matter where I go. Then go find jobs that'll help you build those skills. Not only is that the best career advice I've ever received, but I also think it's highly relevant for us today as leaders, because AI is going to make certain skills skyrocket in value and certain ones plummet in value. And we have an opportunity to ask ourselves, our team, our kids, what are the skills that we can master that will be so valuable they'll serve us no matter where you go? I ended up eventually making my way into business ownership. And I partnered up with a guy named Gary Keller. He started a company called Keller Williams. He wrote a book called The One Thing, really popular book. My job, great book. My job was to turn the book into a company. And so I partnered with him and his co-author. They taught me how to think and act like a CEO. And the core skill that I had to master was how to ask leaders really strategic questions to get them to unlock new levels of growth. This became a huge superpower of mine. I sold my stake in the business in 2022, went in-house as a chief growth officer for a public steel company out of India. I'd been the coach to the chairman, his whole exec team. They had me come in as chief growth officer. And over a 4-year period, we took their market cap from 750 million to 12 billion. How the heck do you drive that kind of growth in 4 years? The focus was very narrow: strategy, execution, people, and technology. Strategy, we owned a lot of companies. This was about defining what the future competitive advantage was for every opco. That's strategy. Then execution was, how do we align a focused business plan that we will stay focused on with our long-term strategy? Then people, I had this huge realization, Kevin, one day. Why do we hire people? To achieve our goals. How often are goals changing?
All the time.
How often are job descriptions changing?
Interesting.
We had 100,000 people around the world, and I'm going, oh my gosh. How might we dynamically realign a workforce of that size as goals and priorities shift throughout the year? Well, you'd have to look to tech. It was December of 22 when I saw ChatGPT for the first time. I mean, it literally been out for 2 weeks. And when I saw it, I had the same thoughts that I think most leaders had, which is, that's cool. I'm busy. I'll get to it later. Or you know what? I'll delegate this to IT. IT will figure this one out. Or maybe we can just hire a consultant who can come in and do it for us. But Kevin, there was something deep that said, I think this might be a skill that's worth mastering. I think this might serve you no matter where you go. And so I just said, I don't care how busy I am. I can write one prompt a day. The problem was, Kevin, I was using it to I was asking the wrong questions because I was using it to write a better email. And it felt like a waste of time. But it hit me. My career has been defined by asking leaders the right questions to unlock new levels of growth. But here I am asking AI questions. Could I turn the tables and get AI to ask me the right questions to elevate my strategic
Mm-hmm.
thinking? That was the game changer. And I was in India one quarter. I'm at the chairman's house. I started showing him how I was using it for strategy. Long story short, he asked that I figure out how to drive it through the company. One problem, I know nothing about AI. But something I learned from Gary Keller is anytime you're hitting a ceiling of achievement, you're just missing a person. So if I'm asking, how do I drive this through the org, it's the wrong question versus asking, who can I get into a relationship with that could enable me to drive it through the company? That became
Yeah.
Google. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot working with their team about the tech. But as we started to drive it through the company, I realized, oh my gosh, everybody's focused on the wrong thing. They're asking the wrong questions. They're asking, what's the right use case? AI adoption is not your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Building better leaders, better businesses, better lives. Yes. AI can help you or it can distract you. The difference that makes the difference is you.
Yeah.
The problem was no one was talking about the leader. So I literally burnt the ships, resigned, wrote The AI Driven Leader. It is now the #1 book in the world for its category. It's been on an absolute tear, and we've built a company called AI Leadership that helps companies harness this really strategically in a way that actually moves the needle on enterprise value.
Man, that is so amazing. There's so much that we can unpack out of that story there. So asking the right questions is super hard. It's
Is it?
super hard. Yeah, it's super hard. How do you get um, people to think about the right questions that they need to be asking?
Well, there's two sides to that coin. One is, how do you learn how to ask the right questions? The other is, how can AI help you ask the right questions? And this is actually the faster path.
Okay.
How you communicate is everything. Just like in a marriage, if you communicate effectively, better relationship. Don't communicate effectively, not a great relationship. Same thing with AI. I have a framework for communicating with AI that will cause it to ask you the right questions. It's called CRIT. CRIT stands for context, role, interview, task. You give AI lots of context about the situation. While it's been trained on the information of the world, it doesn't know you, your situation, the problem you're facing the way you do. So if you just literally type or talk and give it lots of context, more than you think you need, that's a good start. Role. This is where you tell AI the kind of expert you want it to act as on your behalf, because you can tap into expertise of the world now. But the game changer is the interview. I literally type this verbatim. Interview me, ask me one question at a time, up to 3 questions to gain deeper context. You can rewind it, type it on your phone, write it down verbatim. Then task is whatever you want AI to do. Context, role, interview, task. Can I give you real
Yeah, give us an example.
I did this one last week. We had an offsite, mid-year offsite for our company to realign the team around our focus for the balance of the year. I fed the updated business plan to AI and said, context attached is our business plan for the balance of the year. We've had this offsite. This is what we're holding firm on the goal. We believe we can achieve it, but I want to blow it out of the water. The plan represents our area of focus on what we're really going to keep focused on for the balance of the year, who's responsible for every single one for us to hit the goal. And yet I'm wondering, what am I not seeing that I should be seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Where might the plan be insufficient and I just can't see the cracks? And that's why I'm turning to you. So literally, I'm just speaking my thoughts to
Yeah.
AI. Role. Your role is to act as an aggressive, growth-minded board member who is naturally a challenger. You're
Mm.
great at looking at plans and an executive team that's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and finding all the cracks and all the places it's insufficient, but guiding them on how to fill the gaps so the plan is bulletproof. And again, you're thinking, well, Geoff, I can't say all that. I'm just speaking stream of consciousness. I'm just
Yeah.
speaking my mind. Interview me. Ask me one question at a time. I give it 5 questions, up to 5 questions to gain deeper context. Then your task is to tell me all the places you think our plan is insufficient and the top changes we'd have to make so you would say it's bulletproof.
Nice.
So, pro tip, you need to look at your phone right now and look at the timestamp. And then when you're at your desk later, I know what you're doing. Get your business plan, feed it to AI, and literally play this on like 0.5x speed and type that prompt in. You're welcome.
Boom. I think that's going to help so many people to use that crit methodology, that framework, because that will really make them think differently about how they can start to leverage AI. So, as you're talking to leaders all the time, what is one myth that you hear from leaders that you bust frequently?
They think in order for them to drive this in their company, they have to become an AI expert. But what if you didn't have to become an AI expert, but all you had to do was become an AI driven leader? Meaning you just know enough about the tech at a very surface level that you can actually cast a vision for the future, define a strategy for how you're going to win, and just start leading the change until you realize you're missing a person. And then you can ask, who are we missing externally that can help us take this forward? The thing that stops so many execs from starting is, one, they just don't know. They know AI is the future. They don't know where to start. They think they're falling behind. This is what my book ended up revealing for them, is how you can use this just by writing crit. It's massively powerful. But what happens that they don't expect is all of a sudden, it's like they realize they've lived their entire life seeing black and white, and they just started to see color for the first time. And when
Wow.
they start to see how AI can do things, all of a sudden they're able to look at their operations and go, huh, how about we harness AI to do that? Or they're able to look at their product or service offering and go, well, wait, how can we harness AI to do that? Like, I'll give you a real example. We have a new person stepping in, taking over sales.
Okay.
And I asked the person that she's replacing, because he's being promoted, how are you going to train her? And he goes, well, I've got all my calls that I've done, and I've kind of created a script, and I'm going to train her on the script, and we'll do some role plays, and I'll listen to some of her call recordings. And I asked him, how can AI help you do this? Here is what the new process is, which, by the way, we're going to make her do. She has received no formal AI training until she has stepped into our company, and we just taught her to write crit. We are going to have her log in to, we use Fathom as an AI note taker. She's going to have to pull the last 100 sales calls that Vaughn did. We're going to feed her the customer list of the people who purchased. So AI will be able to cross-reference the call with who bought versus who didn't.
Yeah.
And we're going to have her write crit to have AI review all 100 sales calls, the transcripts of them, cross-reference it with the closed customers, and from that, create the ideal script that she should study. And once it does that, we're going to have it turn it into a training document that she can embed into a custom GPT or a project inside a chat GPT, so that we can have all of her sales calls automatically be routed to the AI sales coach that she's going to create, so that AI will give her feedback on every single call on what she did well, what she didn't do well, and the top changes she could make.
Love that.
People listening to, like, now you play in the automation space, so you're like, yeah, obviously, but you see color. People who are listening to this are seeing black and white, and they're going, what? The only reason we can see that is because we write crit every day and we
Yeah.
can see things that others can't see.
Man, that is beautiful. So, can we talk a little bit about not just what people can see or not see? Because sometimes when people can't see something, they can be a little fearful.
Sure.
So, let me ask you this: true or false? AI is going to take my job.
It's up to you.
Mm.
It's up to you.
Explain. Explain.
Mm. Well, let's start. What is a job? A job is just a series of skills you apply and processes you follow. So if you think of it like an algebraic formula, job equals skills applied times processes followed. If you study the past technological disruptions, which I have, what you will find is that in every technological shift, it made certain skills skyrocket in value and certain skills plummet in value. It made certain processes skyrocket in value. It made certain processes plummet in value. You know what happened to the humans? The ones that had the skills or acquired skills that went up in value had jobs. The ones whose skills plummeted in value and refused to learn different skills lost their jobs. So this is where now we're talking to leaders. So these are
We're
people
talking
who
to
like
leaders.
these are the people who like to get in the driver's seat. You going to wait for the company to train you, or are you going to do something about it? I didn't wait for Jindal to train me. I took it upon myself to write crit once a day, every day. You actually don't need anything more than my book to start. Literally just write crit. You don't need anything more than that. The number of people I know who have just started using crit and aiming it at really strategic use cases, who then started showing senior leadership what they were doing, that then got put in charge of this for
Mhm.
their team, they skyrocketed in value. But tech is going to do what it's always done. It's going to displace skills and processes, not people. It is up to you to ask, do I think the skills I'm currently harnessing are going up or down in value? I think the reality, though, is, Kevin, most people spend most of their time doing the things that do not matter.
Mm-hmm. That is so true.
Checking email, sitting in meetings and saying yes when people ask if they've got a minute. And when they finally come up for oxygen, they try to clear their to-do list, most of which is filled with 80% tasks that only drive 20% of the results. And what gets left are those 20% true priorities that drive
Mm-hmm.
80% of the results. If that's you, if that resonates with you, if that hurts a little bit when I say that, I feel for you. I
Yeah.
used to be that guy. Put the oxygen mask on yourself. Just start by asking, what is something that I need to focus on that matters? It makes an impact. And I don't care what else is on your calendar. If it's less important, cancel it. And ask, how can AI help me do this? And write crit context. I mean, I literally did this yesterday for a bank where it's like their biggest problem is loans and like collapsing the time it takes to review a loan. And they're like, how could AI help me do that? I'm like, crit, and literally wrote crit and showed them a complete roadmap on how to collapse their loan process review time from weeks or months to literally hours.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about banks, but I know how to write crit. You can do this.
That is so practical. It's really practical. Um, Now, not going to lose my job because I'm going to dig in. I'm going to learn how to write crit. How should I be thinking about the jobs within my organization?
They're all going to change. Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, I'm paraphrasing him, but he basically said everything you know about how your company operates is going to change in 5 years. Not 10, 5.
Mm.
And he said that a year ago. And I heard a great idea from a guy named Greg Shove. He said, are you focusing on outputs or outcomes? If you're focusing on outputs, generate this report, send this email, do this task, you are acting like a machine. And a machine is better at acting like a machine than you are. That is going to go away. If you are focused on outcomes, driving revenue, driving EBITDA, driving renewal rates, improving customer satisfaction, the AI is not going to replace that. It will enhance that. I think the skills that matter for us moving forward are the skills that actually make us human. The ability to think strategically, to problem solve, to communicate, to collaborate, to create. Like, these are the human skills that make us us, that you may or may not have actually been harnessing and really developing and strengthening. This is just a wake-up call. Now, let me offer a different framing.
Please do.
You've heard of the David by Michelangelo.
Yep.
How did Michelangelo sculpt the David?
How did he sculpt it?
Well, he didn't do it by adding more marble to the block. He started with a large block of marble and slowly removed layer by layer by layer by layer until all that was left was a masterpiece. What if every single one of you listening to this was a masterpiece, but you were carrying around all these layers of other stuff? Can you really say that what you do on a daily basis for your job is actually a representation of your strengths and who you are? Most people cannot. So isn't it interesting that maybe it will be a machine that will actually return us to what makes us us?
That is a beautiful thing to think about. Absolutely marvelous. So now I know that everything's going to change, and it's going to change soon. How do I think about, I know we've got crit, but how do I start thinking about where I can add value to my customer? Because if everything's going to change the way that I do business, how about how we add value to our customers?
Yeah. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see companies making.
Yeah.
Because at a high level, there's only 3 ways AI can bring value to a company: make people more productive, make operations more efficient, make products and services more valuable. But the companies at the C-suite, they're going, how do we drive this into our product or service offering to either charge more money or to be able to say that it's an AI product or to bring more value to customers? Or they're going, how do we drive cost out of the business? But it's tough to see color if you've only seen black and white. Can you really understand how you can transform the value to your customers or your operational efficiency if you have not experienced AI transform you? So I think of this very much, Kevin, kind of like dominoes. You got to stand them up and line them up and hit the first one. Going to customer value is like the 20th domino. You haven't earned the right to go there yet. And this is why so many AI use cases are failing, and studies are coming out saying the magnitude of money and high percentage that is being wasted. It's because they can't see what they can't see. They're trying to shove it into places without having any sense of what this really can do. How do you start? Write crit once a day. In 30 days or less, you will see things you could have never seen before.
So you're telling me I just can't go out and buy the newest AI app and just roll it into my organization and I'm good?
What if 99% of the apps that you hear about were a distraction?
How so?
Here's my filter. If I learn this new app, will that help me increase my revenue growth rate? Will it help me drive more to the bottom line? Will it help me multiply my multiple? Will it help me build a deeper, wider moat? Or will it help me build better leaders? If the answer is no, it's a distraction. The truth is, most people just need one tool. It could be ChatGPT, it could be Copilot, it could be Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. And people are like, which tool should I use? And I say, they're all the same. They're all different. The differences don't really make the difference. What matters is how you use it, and that from a company standpoint, you feel that it meets your privacy and security needs. But at that point, pick any of them as long as it meets your privacy and security needs. Then it's how you use it. You can get granular. Like if I'm in marketing and I create images, are there platforms that are better for that than others? Sure. But spending all this time debating what's the latest tool is a distraction.
Nice. So I know what to do for myself. I know what to do for my team, and I know what to do for my organization now. Um, can you talk to me a little bit about this new hybrid workplace where they
Yeah.
say there's going to be human workers and AI agents working together? What does that look like, and what do I think about that?
Sure. So again, a job is skills applied and processes followed. Now we get to ask the question, what skills and processes will be done by humans and which will be done by machines? So when I think, and this is literally how we're building our company, um, we can't hire fast enough. I'm not using this to cut heads because I just figured out, instead of putting $1 in and getting $1.10 out, I just figured out how to put $1 in and get $100 out, or $1,000 out, or $1,000,000 out. Like, I'm not looking to reduce people. I want to hire extraordinary people.
Hmm.
And I want, but I'm not going to strap them down with tactical 80% tasks. We're going to harness technology to do those things so that they can stay in their true gift zone. Like every one of them has unique strengths that if we can get them to harness their strengths and focus it on the 20% priorities of their role in alignment with the company goals, AI turns their strengths into superpowers. So it's like asking a question, how do you attract a Super Bowl winning team, but give them superhuman abilities?
Mm.
That's my team today. I'll give you a real use case. My executive assistant is actually a virtual assistant in South America. Now, if I say a virtual assistant in South America, what comes through your mind?
Low cost, low value, just do the task that I have them do easily.
Does where they live or what their pay rate in another country have anything to do with their level of intellect, their ability to think, how smart they are?
No,
No, not at all.
no.
So I challenged Marianella because after being with me for 90 days, she was hitting all the marks on the current job, which meant it was time to raise her goals
Yep.
because she was getting 10 out of 10 on everything. Time to raise her goals. And I said to her, Marianella, I want you to write crit and come back to me with a vision for how you could bring 10 times to 100 times more value to the company and what that role would look like. The next week, she brings me a vision of what that would look like. She brought me a transition plan of how she would shed the stuff she's currently doing, which was a job description for her replacement, which she would
Yep.
find and hire, a development plan to get her to perform in that new role. And she said, and if I do this, here's how I would like to be compensated with it. And I was like, ooh, I love it. Let's go. She goes, I'm not done yet. And I went, and I said,
Ooh.
tell me more. And she said, I created the same prompt for you because I can't 10x or 100x my impact if I don't help you 10x or 100x your impact. Kevin,
Boom. Mic drop.
I'm not done yet.
You're not done yet.
She says, gives me the prompt. She goes, I'll wait. And she waits while I execute the prompt, and AI starts interviewing me about what are all the layers of marble that we would have to shed so that what was left was the masterpiece of Geoff Woods.
Wow.
That was, no joke, probably one of the most impactful use cases I've ever done. We're not done yet. She then gave me another prompt and said, because part of that was, here's the things you'd have to do, but here's the things you'd have to stop doing. And she goes, I know you. Your number one enemy is, and I said, myself. And she goes, exactly. And then she gave me a prompt that would have AI build a system of rules that we would have to put in place and a defense process if I ever wanted to break my own rules.
Wow.
This came from
Wow.
this is her like 90 days to 120 days
Wow.
in.
Wow.
What now? How did this happen? It's a standard in my company. We practice what we teach. Everything you're hearing me say, you can tell we eat, sleep, breathe this. And I just taught her how to write crit. And I am constantly challenging her to focus this on things that matter. The next week, by the way, she came back to me and said, I took screenshots of your calendar week over the last 90 days, fed it to AI, layered it in with your 100x role and the rules, and had AI interview me to come up with a new model for your time of how we should be structuring your calendar when you're performing at 100x level. And now she's implementing that and driving with the team all the changes that are going to happen.
Man, that's powerful. That's powerful. That is powerful. Man, so you have, in a very short period of time, walked us through, as leaders, everything that we need to know in order to really start thinking differently about how we start using AI. We absolutely love that. Um, Let me just take it outside of the world of the office. You brought up something earlier on. Um, how do we, what do we teach our kids? How do we focus our kids for the future of
Yeah.
this AI era?
This summer we did a month on the East Coast, and I remember it so vividly. I was in the ocean with my 12-year-old daughter, and like I'm holding her in the ocean. And she said, Daddy, when are you going to let me come work for you? And I said, you can come work for me now. And she said, well, what job can I do for you? And I said, Daphne, you're asking the wrong question. You should be asking, what are the skills I can master that will be so valuable? Not only will it serve you no matter where you go, but it's also going to be something that I would pay you for today. And she goes, well, what's that? And we got out ChatGPT and wrote crit. Context. I'm doing this use case with my daughter. She's 12 years old. She said she wants to come work for me, asked what the right job was. I said, you're asking the wrong question. Like everything I just said to you, Kevin, was the
Yeah.
context. Role, your role is to act as her thought partner, who is also a psychologist at really helping people understand what their core strengths are, but you also know how to think like an executive and line up with the intersection of those strengths and the needs of a business. Interviewer, ask her one question at a time, up to 5 questions to gain deeper context about her strengths, but as well as I'm going to be on this too. Some of those questions can come to me about the needs of the business. And then your task is to find the intersection and lay out 10 potential ways she can bring value to the company, what that job would be, what the tasks would be, and what would be the skills that she would be developing. One of the things that it popped up with was, this is, by the way, one of the top questions I get. Number one question I get asked is, which tool should I use? Number two question I get asked is, how do we keep our data private? Number 3 is, what do I tell our kids?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Daphne, like I literally said, I want you to use this. I want to use this for school. I want you to use this for life. And I want you to document how you're using it. And I'm going to help you use it correctly so you stay in the driver's seat as the thought leader, so that then you can turn that into content that my company can put out into the world. I will actually pay you for that.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome. That is awesome. So, last question. Is there anything that crit can't solve?
Let me reframe the question. I have never found a use case that crit could not apply for. Whether or not it works is actually not about crit. It's about you. If I say the word cheeseburger, you can think McDonald's or you can think Michelin star. They're both cheeseburgers. What's the difference that makes the difference? Quality. So whether or not you give quality input into the prompt is everything.
Man, that is so great, so key. Thank you so very much for coming on and having this conversation with me. Now, before you go, one of the things that I ask everybody, I'm a huge music fan, absolutely love music of all types. Give me a song that I should go and listen to later on today after this show is done. Who let the dogs out?
Like I didn't know you were going to ask that. But isn't it amazing that I had that easily on
that
hand?
that easily. Oh, that was so great.
That is our internal company anthem. Like whenever I get really excited about things, I either start screaming "Who let the dogs out?"
Yeah.
or our developer who's building our tech product. Like every time he drops a mic bomb, like or drop the mic, I play that. Like yeah. There you go.
Oh man, absolutely love that. Love it. Man, this has been so fun. I hope that you'll come back again and we can have another conversation in the future.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. Bye now.